Welcome back, everyone, to Mystic by Colette, the channel dedicated to helping you empower yourself, rewrite your story, and claim your I Am. My name is Colette Mesdag. I'm an intuitive guide and the creator of the Mystic Empowerment Card Series. Each week I do a card reading, including 3 cards, one from each of my 3 decks, and the reading is based on a theme, question, or comment that is made below. And the theme this week came from a conversation that I had with a good friend of mine, Josh. And in this conversation, we were talking about releasing expectations, because many of us, especially on an enlightened path, we have a vision and a desire to create something, and it's usually so big and so wonderful and so important, and we have these expectations as to when things are going to happen. And the conversation that I had with him reminded me of some of the challenges that I have faced in the past and also currently, that I know is reflected in a lot of the comments and conversations I've had from clients and friends. So I figured it was a good time to talk about that, especially as we wrap up the 2018 year. I want to remind you that if you get this message via YouTube or any other source at any time other than the dates that it stated for, doesn't mean that it's not important for you to pay attention. It means that you got the message when you were intended to get the message. So we're going to get to the reading, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about what's coming up and the cards themselves that came up in the reading. All right. Just a reminder that the theme is releasing expectation. And I do want to mention that it doesn't matter when you see this video. If this video is presented to you or you come across it after the dates of the week that is originally set for, that doesn't mean that it's not relevant to you. It just means it's even more relevant because you've come across it at the time that you needed to hear this message. Now, again, the conversation that this came from was with my friend Josh, and he was actually the third person to make a similar comment about what could be holding many of us back, myself included, in some areas of our lives. And, so it's really great when you're having a conversation, you get this aha moment, and then you have a conversation with somebody else, and you're getting kind of a reminder of the same thing. And then you are on texting with somebody and they haphazardly mention something. You're just getting those reminders. And this was a big one that was saying that just because there's a timeline in mind, just because there's an expectation of when something's going to come through, doesn't mean that that's, when it's going to happen, no matter how great a manifestor you are. And so the cards this week, I'm expecting are going to be as powerful for me as they are for any of you, because the topic has been very, very much top of mind for me in conversations with friends. Okay, we'll start with the card for change and transformation from Mystic Bliss, and that is I Am Light. And I think even though the phrase doesn't speak about, happenstance and situations that are happening right now and the expectations you have, but it does talk about the higher self and how it glows eternal. And the connection I'm making here is that universe, spirit, source, the higher self, all has a timeline that goes beyond anything that you could possibly dream up. They have a picture that is so much bigger than what you could possibly dream as well. So why limit yourself with expectations that it's going to happen a certain way by a certain time and have a certain result? It may be that in setting expectations, you're actually limiting yourself. And if you release the expectations and imagine what else it could be if you let it go, if you reconnect with your higher self, because, as I said, it's eternal and it's not a lost connection. It's just more of a re-awareness of who you are on a higher level, so that you can more easily understand the value of releasing and not expecting certain things to happen just your way. Because once again, you might be thinking way too small. So we'll look at that as a possibility as we continue along here. It may change the dialogue as the other cards are added, as it often does, but let's just see. Card number 2, I am creative. And the card is a mother card from the Mystic Journey deck for healing and nurturing. And of course, that's a double confirmation that you just need to nurture and take care of yourself through disappointments, through the things that didn't happen the way that you expected them to, being that it's a mother card. But more so, the comment of I am creative is just let your mind wander to what else is possible rather than the limited expectations that you may have put onto yourself or plans that you have. Basically, just let it flow. Let yourself be more in the moment, which is what it is to be creative. And once again, I've had so many reminders of that, the value of creative flow in situations with people I've sat with for card readings and my friends and relatives. It's been it's a constant topic that keeps coming up. And it's not surprising that the card is a reminder of this. Just think, what else is possible? Create a bigger possibility, but do not attach expectation to it so that you can be fuller on that. Releasing expectation may take some creative work on your part. And creative, I mean thinking outside the box and not limiting yourself to what you already know. Be more adventurous in what you're thinking and adding to your process. The third card, I am observing. Pay attention. Look at what's happening. If it is not quite what you expected, look at what it is. Observe it. Pay attention. Study it. See why it may have shifted, and the benefit of it having shifted may be bigger than what you had expected. Now, disappointment will always be something that comes up for many of us when things aren't happening at the timeline that we have. And sometimes that disappointment is shrouded in doubt of your value or your purpose or your direction or even your journey or your reason for being. And that doesn't mean that that's true, but observe those feelings, understand where they're coming from, figure out the past programming and elements that are in play so that you can learn to release it. So I'm going to tie this up by speaking about when you're standing in your light and you are focused on creating new possibilities and observing the results of your efforts, you can't be tied to the expectation. You're opening up to bigger possibilities and wider perspectives, and that is releasing expectations. We'll be right back. Well, that was pretty powerful, and thank you for joining me, as I said, once again. And I'm going to review the cards briefly. I'm actually feeling very intrigued as to what's come up, because there's still some questions that actually have been triggered for me, and I'm hoping that it also triggered some revelations and questions for you. Now, the first card that we had this week in our 3-card spread was I Am Light, and this card has a few symbols and interesting things that I want to address beyond what we talked about. And that one of them is the tree and the weight of the tree and the wisdom reflected or symbolized in the age of this tree. So sometimes as we are going through the process of creating something, we have, as I said before, set some expectations, and there's maybe a bit of impatience about it because you have this desire to bring it to fruition. And but as we get wiser, as we get a little bit deeper in the understanding of things, more often than not, we realize that things will happen in their own time, and you can't really force things. And that's also the element of light. It lightens our consciousness when we realize that we can relax, we can be a little lighter in our energy, but also hold light, because when we hold light, we are projecting and expanding, so that expectations and timelines and those things are not as important. Our second card from the Mystic Journey deck for healing and nurturing is a Mother category card, as well as water. So we are dealing with emotions, and specifically around this deck is nurture or heal aspects of your creativity. The cave that's represented here, we've talked about a bit, and the moss about the green of potential, and the cave about going within and digging a little deeper. Sometimes it's when we are setting expectations on timelines and things that are happening for ourselves, we may actually be not well grounded. We may be pushing too fast or pushing too hard. So release the expectations and let things happen as they will. The third card sort of confirmed that from our Men of Magic series. It is sitting in the south, which is about energy of passion and energy of fiery nature, a bit of stubbornness, but in observing our energy, the things that are happening around us, and how we react to these things, we might actually have some deep lessons. So in finding ourselves challenged with timelines or the expectations that we had, and they may not be coming together the way we thought, step back, observe, see what's going on. And if I'm going to look at the dialogue, and just observe things lightly and think about things more creatively, well, maybe that's the one. But maybe it's lighten yourself and your energy so that creativity can come through, and observe things in a more relaxed state. I think I like that one better. As I try to create a dialogue around the three cards, and maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I have too many expectations. I don't know. But anyway, so I'll just leave it at that for now. I want to close with mentioning that if you are interested in a one-on-one card reading or becoming a member of my Card of the Month clubs, which is a monthly message that comes to you in your email, it is beginning again in 2019. So this is the end of middle of December right now, and of 2018, and I will be taking on some new members for the 2019 series. So that's one. Other thing is I do have some workshops that are coming up, so do visit the website. And if you have any questions or comments, please comment below, and I will address those as they come up. And of course, it's important for the dialogue to begin and expand, but I'm releasing expectations as to whether that's going to happen or not, because I am getting a lot of emails, just not a lot of interaction in the YouTube below. So anyways, we'll see you next week, and I hope you enjoyed this reading. I know I enjoyed bringing it to you. So thanks for joining me.